in the draft is the perfect spot for the Eagles. It couldn't fall any better for us. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here. I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. So day one of the combine is just about wrapped up. And all I can say is this. The 10th spot in the draft is going to end up being the perfect spot for the Philadelphia Eagles, especially if you get a bunch of quarterbacks that go early. The Eagles are in a great spot. And I don't know about you guys, but did you see these defensive linemen run today? Boy, they are getting bigger and faster every year. Now, we're going to get into it in a second. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, most throttled Eagles content creator in all of the internet. And if you've been subscribed for a while, thank you for the support that you give to me. You guys are the best subscribers in the whole world. Best trolls in the whole world. Don't matter. If you're here, you're subscribed, I appreciate it. And get ready for a crazy offseason. A lot of content to come out. Now, as I said at the beginning of this video, the Eagles are sitting at the most perfect spot at 10. Because when you look at this at the draft and the way it's going to fall, I really think that you're going to have like 3-4 quarterbacks possibly go in the top 10. And if that happens, the Eagles are going to have a good player fall to them. I don't think the Eagles need to trade that 10th spot. I think you just need to sit tight and let the draft fall to you. Now, maybe if there's somebody that you really like, you want to go up a spot or two and get them, go ahead and do it. But I think the Eagles at 10, I think they're sitting really pretty. Remember, this is a team with 2 first-round picks. So it's going to be interesting. And two of the positions that they could possibly draft is defensive tackle, defensive end. They could look for another edge rusher. And, I mean, I don't know if you saw some of these guys today, but my gosh. I mean, Nolan Smith runs a 4.39. Byron Young, 4.43. Robert Beal Jr., 4.48. Listen, I can't even pronounce this dude's name. I don't know how the hell you say his name. But my God, did he put up some elite combine numbers. Get this. Northwestern edge rusher, Adetomowa Adebomore, I don't know how to say his name. You can't hold it against me. Put up an elite combine performance for his weight. 282 pounds, earning a 97 athleticism score pending shuttle drills. Combine rank since 2003, 275 pounds plus. 4.49 40-yard dash first. 10.5-foot broad jump, tied second. 37.5 vertical, tied third. I mean, he put up huge numbers. And like I said, these guys just put up amazing numbers in terms of speed and combine drills. You know, it's almost to the point where these guys are so ready for the 40s and the drills that the tapes become so much more important because these guys are ready. Kalijah Cansey runs a 4.67 as a defensive tackle. He goes out and he runs a 4.67. And you know, it's interesting when you look at Kalijah Cansey, like before the combine, dude, I didn't see him in anything first round. I read a mock draft, CBS Sports mock draft today. I guess it might have been done yesterday or right before they ran drills. And they had Kalijah Cansey going 5 or whatever. They had him going to Seattle in the top 10. To me, it's crazy. It's crazy how gosh, these guys are faster. They're stronger. And he's actually being compared to Aaron Donald. Now, they both went to the same school. He's 6'1". Donald was 6 foot 3/4. He's 281 pounds. Donald was 285 pounds. He ran a 4.67 40, and Donald ran a 4.68 40. It's pretty spectacular. Kalijah Cansey's a first round pick. He's a first round pick. No, how high will he go? That remains to be seen. But he's a first round pick. There's no question about it. Nolan Smith, we talked about Nolan Smith. He ran a 4.39. He had an unbelievable jump, vertical. Let me see if I can find what his vertical was. He had a 41.5-foot vertical. Okay, he went out there and he performed great as well. They're saying he's probably the 4th edge rusher now in the draft. So these guys, defensive line wise, were absolutely spectacular. And I think the Eagles are sitting pretty at 10 because we know the Eagles like defensive tackles. We know that they like offensive tackles. The Eagles always like to build from the inside out. And could they do that in the first round? It's very, very possible. It's very possible that this team in the first round could go out and draft a defensive lineman or an offensive tackle. I would not be surprised because you got to remember, Lane Johnson's getting older. A right tackle's that's sitting there for the future. They may go ahead and snag it. And I could not blame the Eagles if they did that. I could not blame them one iota. Now, I got to give a huge shout out to one Joe Castro. Joe Castro is the man. If you remember the theme song of the Philly Shakedown podcast, that's Joe Castro. He is the man, and he is actually at the Combine conducting interviews with prospects. He is doing an outstanding job. I watch his stuff all the time. I've been especially watching now with him at the Combine. I'm going to put a link in the description to his channel. Go sub him up. Tell him Philly 500 sent you. But he was saying that it didn't seem like the Eagles had interviewed a whole lot of defensive backs yet. He was a little bit surprised. Should that be something that we're concerned about? I don't think so. I think as long as the Eagles conduct visits with a lot of defensive backs and corners, which is what I expect, you'll see more of that. I think the Eagles will be fine. To me, I'm more concerned about who visits them in Philly, who comes in and talks to them. That's when you really know, or maybe you're getting thrown off. But I expect to see more defensive backs getting interviewed. Here's who the Eagles have interviewed today, though. This is the Birds blog. Shout out to them. They said Eagles Prospect Combine Meeting Tracker. And this was what was so far, as I was doing this video, that I could find. Isaiah Foskey, edge rusher, Notre Dame. Brandon Joseph, safety, Notre Dame. Antonio Johnson, safety, Texas A&M. Eagles looking at safeties. Byron Young, edge, Tennessee. Osiris Torrance, inside offensive lineman, Florida. Gervon Dexter, senior, inside defensive lineman, Florida. Byron Young, inside defensive lineman, Alabama. And then this by Jacob Sports. Before I came on, I saw this. This is pretty interesting. Shout out to them. The Pound Eagles held a I think it's supposed to be formal meeting with Georgia defensive back Kylie Ringo. Wow, Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody just walked all over your grave. That every time I hear his last name, I think of Tombstone. I can't help it. One of the greatest movies ever. But they met with him. He's a prospect I would really be high on. I would love to get him in the draft. I like him a lot. So, we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be interesting. It's really going to be interesting. I keep thinking about, though, what Howie Roseman said in his interviews. And this is what I was saying, and this is why I think I know how Howie works. I know Inception. I know I've gotten in his mind. I know how Howie works. Howie is going to go against the grain. He is always going to go against the grain because when teams are all trending one way, you can find sleepers and big things going where nobody goes. For instance, if everybody drafts a wide receiver in the first round, let's say you have 10 picks, everybody drafts a wide receiver, that means you have an opportunity, if you don't take a receiver, to get one of the best defensive backs in the National Football League or coming out of the draft. That's just an example. I think about that, and I think about the running back spot. Why would it? Somebody tell me, why wouldn't it be going against the grain to take a Bijan Robinson early? To take him early when nobody expects the Eagles to do it. When teams are clearly trending in other directions, right? Everybody's going to want to do what teams that have been successful do, right? That's what they're going to copy. But this gives you an opportunity to possibly get a Bijan Robinson. you might have to do it. You might have to do it. I mean, we'll see what happens with Jalen Carter. We'll see if there's more charges that come his way. It could turn into a big problem. He could drop. He could stay. It really depends. It really depends on if there are more charges. If it just stays misdemeanors, I don't really think he drops that much. But if there are more charges like lying to police, fleeing a scene, and if anything becomes felonies, he's done. He's done. But Bijan Robinson, I don't know. I just got Bijan Robinson on the brain, I think. On the brain. Because I keep thinking about the Eagles and going against the grain. And I think going running back in the first round would be against the grain, would be against what you normally don't do, but what it would mean for your offense would be unbelievable. Ed Kratz is even saying this. Listen what he wrote. He says, tell me again why the Pound Eagles, and it's not hashtag, I don't want to hear hashtag, Pound Eagles, shouldn't take Bijan Robinson at number 10. Bama's Will Anderson said at the Combine, Robinson is the toughest player he faced. Big back. We had to gang tackle him. We knew he was going to break a few tackles, and we had to tackle him right away. So you're getting a guy like Will Anderson, who's going to go potentially, we'll say top 5, already saying he's the toughest guy we faced in college football. Why? Explain to me again why we wouldn't want a guy like that. I'm not saying 10. But you have 2 first-round picks. You can move up if you want to, or you could stay right there and just take him at 10. I think that whatever the teams are doing, whatever the trends seem to be, look the other way. When you're talking about Howie Roseman, you talk about look the other way. That's the way they're going to go. They're not going to do what everybody else does. They're going to try to set the trend. Can you imagine the Eagles draft a running back like Bijan Robinson at 10, or let's say at 10, or in the first round? Because I like to think I could get him with my second first round pick. But let's say you get him. Okay, now you get him, and you're successful. You go into next season, he's Rookie of the Year, or he's up for Rookie of the Year. Your offense is tremendous, scoring 30 points a game. You're back in the Super Bowl, Everybody is going to look to what the Eagles did and say, we could do the same thing with these running backs. And all of a sudden, running backs are going to become an thing early in the draft. And to me, why not take the running back early in the first round if you think he's a player as Bijan Robinson? If he's that type of player, why not? You could draft him and pay him cheap, or you could go out and sign Kareem Hunt, all these other guys who are going to cost you more in free agency. So, I don't know. I guess another way, and I got to put this out there too, another thing that would be, I think, against the grain is to not get another running back, or get a running back like 3rd or 4th round, and then let Kenneth Gainwell be your number 1. That would go against the grain, because I don't think most people would expect that. So that's quite a possibility, and we've heard rumblings of that being possible with the Eagles. But I have a feeling that Howie Roseman is going to do something like Bijan Robinson or something like that. Maybe not necessarily him, but I think the Eagles are going to do some picks and do some things in free agency, especially in the draft, that are going to be surprises to everybody else and go against the grain. And it's not that bad of a move. I remember a couple years ago we were doing a draft. I forget which draft it was, but I think it was Miles' draft. I was streaming that live, and everybody was saying defense. We're going to pick defense. The Eagles are going to pick defense. I kept saying, no, I think their first 3 picks are offense. What do you mean you think their first 3 picks are offense? Why would you think their first 3 picks are offense? And it was simple, because the Eagles like to go against the grain. And the fact is if all these teams before you pick are taking defensive players, then that means the offensive players who are at the top of the draft are falling to you. By the time they get to you, you're going to pick the 19th best defensive player, or you're going to pick the 3rd best offensive player. And that's what it came down to. And that's how I kind of look at this with the Eagles going into this draft. Are the quarterbacks going to go early? And if they do, is that going to have some potential defensive players fall to you? If a lot of defensive players go early, could the Eagles go out and take an offensive tackle, take a running back? Quite possible. Howie's going to have it all under control, no doubt about it. Now, I hope to be streaming tomorrow. My goal is to get off early or for a couple hours and be able to come home and stream with the combine. We'll definitely do it over the weekend, and it should be really, really interesting. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's how we vision. We're all just living in it. Now, you guys may be thinking, Philly 500, you didn't talk about A.J. Brown Juju thing and what's going on there. What happened? I did. I got all into the combine draft. I forgot all about talking about it. I did want to mention it, but my thing is this. I don't care. Juju stinks. He stinks. And his production quality of his video stinks. And A.J. Brown would double moonwalk that ass. All right? I saw his video. It stinks. I could do a better job. He should have let me produce it. It would have been better. You know what I mean? But, there are good winners and there are bad winners. There's bad losers, good losers. He's a bad winner. He's a bad winner. The guy does not know how to win, obviously. You got to wonder, what has he really won before that? Because he acts like he never won before. He hasn't been there before. I don't know why you would win and then try to get under the skin of the Eagles and A.J. Brown and those guys. That's a big mistake. A.J. Brown would knock him to next week. Denzel Washington out.